Hi, it's John Terry, the Black Belt Leader, and welcome to another Black Belt Leadership Master Your Life podcast. In this particular episode, I want to talk about why it's not about you. You know, it's interesting that as a leadership coach and trainer, I'm often called into a variety of different environments to speak to business owners, to speak to solopreneurs, to speak to C-suite executives. Maybe it's a civic or a community group. Maybe it's a martial arts school or school owner. Regardless of the organization, I get an opportunity to speak into. One of the things I'm often asked if we do Q&A is a very common question. And it sounds something like this. John, if there was one thing I could do to improve my ability to sell more, to retain more clients, to get more referrals, or to connect with more people, what is that one thing? And again, the answer is always the same, regardless of the group I'm talking to. And whether I'm teaching leadership or I'm training a group to effectively communicate, whether I'm working individually with folks wanting to develop themselves personally, or I'm meeting with an organization and engaging in professional development for C-suite executives or a team. I'm meeting with martial arts school owners and instructors or church, civic, or community groups. That answer to that question always begins with the statement, it's not about you. Dale Carnegie, in his quintessential book, if you've not read this book, it is a must-read for anyone who wants to engage with people, how to win friends and influence people. Perhaps one of the best-selling books of all times. In this book, Mr. Carnegie points out the fact that 90% of the time, each and every one of us are solely focused on ourselves. 90% of the time, your thoughts are focused on you. My thoughts are focused on me, and we're not thinking about the individuals all around us. Well, that bodes a question of how can you win friends and influence people if the only person you're thinking about is you? One of the things I've heard my mentor, John Maxwell, say, and he says it often, is people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And when we think about other people, the most important thing to other people is them. It's not you. And if we want to engage and see success in life, we have to understand that seeing success in life and working with a team of individuals is helping those individuals on our team achieve individual success by helping them achieve their own goals and objectives in life, so that together we can corporately achieve the mutual goals and dreams that we share. Founder of Real Life Management, one of my mentors, Wayne Maxwell, says the biggest barrier to effective communication is usually getting ourselves out of the way. Wayne spends quite a bit of time as he's teaching and training folks to learn to live real life. Is that one of the biggest barriers that we have when it comes to our finances, our relationships, our health, our wellness, our leadership, our careers, our spirituality, all of the other components of our lives. One of the biggest barriers for us seeing success in every one of those stares ourselves in the mirror when we get up every morning to brush our teeth, or when we're getting ready to go to bed at the end of the day and we're getting ready for bed, and again, we're brushing our teeth, combing our hair, doing whatever it is we do, and we eyeball ourselves in the mirror. We, 99 times out of 100, are the biggest problem to seeing success in our own lives. We become so focused on our own wants, our own needs, our own fears and concerns and desires, we forget that every individual that we engage with every single day has their own wants, their own needs, their own fears and anxieties that they deal with every single day. They bring those into your business. They bring those into your church or your synagogue. They bring those into your civic organization, and you're dealing with those as you're dealing with people. Everybody has their own concerns. Everybody has their own desires. And understanding that requires that we see the world a different way. Now, we all have a lens through which we view the world, and it's based upon our own life experience, because we've all grown up in different environments. Some of us grew up in the city, some in the country, some in the backwoods, some in other parts of the world. We all come from a different life experience, and we all see the world uniquely. And that's what makes humanity so incredible, is the diversity of life experience that we've all shared on this common planet that we call Earth. But regardless of how you see the world, regardless of your perspective, it's important to remember not everyone in the world sees the world the way that you do. We all come to the world wearing a different lens through which we view the world. And if we want to see success and significance in life, again, it's important to remember it's not about you. Remember, everyone that you engage with every single day has their own wants and their own needs, their own goals and objectives, their own dreams and ambitions. And part of seeing success, part of being a leader, is learning to understand what makes our people tick. What do they want to achieve in life? What are their goals and objectives? What are their fears and concerns? And how do we help up-level the way they live life so that they can perform at a higher level personally, so that corporately we can all do better together? You know, one of the ways my mom taught me to do this as a child, and it's something I've remembered and I've used in my training for decades now, is the fact that we all have two ears and one mouth. And my mom would remind me often from the time I was a little kid and even today that I need to be listening twice as much as I'm talking. Mom reminded me early on that I can't learn anything when I'm talking. I can only repeat what I already know. And if I don't know what I don't know, I'm talking nonsense. And how often do we hear that in our conversations with others? When we can learn to close our mouth and open our ears and open our minds to understand another's life experience, to hear them talk, asking open-ended questions that allows them to engage and to begin to dialogue with us. By becoming an active listener in the conversation, we can discover amazing things about the people in our lives, the people on our team, and the people in our organizations. Henry Ford believed in this so much, he trained his managers to be active listeners. In fact, he challenged them to do this, to get to know another person's point of view and to learn to see things from his or her angle. Henry Ford believed that this was one of the secrets to success because we all approach a problem with our own life experience. And with our own life experience comes our own biases. But when other people can bring a different life experience and see the world a different way, oftentimes a roadblock or a bias that we have or a blinder in our own eyes someone else doesn't see because they approach the problem differently. And it's through a myriad of ideas, the sharing of collective knowledge, and listening to every available option that we can come up with the very best solutions that are there. As we begin to engage with other people and we become active listeners and we get ourselves out of the way, we can now see people and see their lives through the prism of their own experience. I never had an opportunity to experience the Holocaust, but I've had an opportunity to talk to people that went through that horrible experience. And as a result of that, I've shared a perspective of their life that has changed the way I see the world. I didn't grow up in the inner city, but as I've had an opportunity to teach and train in the inner city, I've had an opportunity to talk to individuals whose life experience has been dramatically different from my own. And as a result of that, I've learned from their experience, their struggles, and the way they view the world is differently than the way I view mine. But through having that open and honest dialogue and discussion, I've learned and they've learned, and together we've grown. And as we go on those journeys of discovery, what are we doing? We're taking a walk in each other's shoes. We are learning from the life experience of each other to realize that we all live on this one planet together. We all share a common existence as humanity on the earth. And when we begin to realize that we are here to add value to others, to understand and recognize that people are valuable and that everyone has an opportunity and the ability to make a contribution in life, if we will empower and equip them to do so, all of a sudden we begin to understand this is how we learn about other people. And this is how we learn to be more successful and experience significance. And it's also how we learn to help others. One of the notable attorneys of one of the previous centuries, Owen Young, said this: people who can put themselves in the place of other people, who can understand the workings of their minds, need never worry about what the future has in store for them. I love that statement because essentially Attorney Young was saying when we can put ourselves in the conversation that other people are having in their own thoughts and minds, and we can understand their fears, their anxieties, their concerns, their frustrations, their goals, and their ambitions, now we have an opportunity to see what we can do to empower them to see success. That's what leaders do. They equip and they train and they empower other people to see success. One of the things John Maxwell teaches those of us that are a part of his organization and have an opportunity to serve on his team is John constantly reminds us that we are people of value who value people and daily add value to others. Now, how do we add value to people? Well, good leaders ask great questions. And we ask those great questions so we can engage others in an open-ended conversation that allows people to tell their story. It's how we learn from their life experience, their failures, their successes, and what they've learned along the way. And as we do that, we can then step in and ask follow-up questions for clarity and for understanding so that we really can take that walk for a mile in another person's shoes. And in doing so, we can now learn what they want to accomplish in life and how we can help them achieve that. I remember when I was training as a martial arts student, working towards my very first black belt. When I got to green belt, I was halfway there and I was so excited that I had finally arrived at the midway point to my first degree black belt. And it was then my instructor took me aside and said, John, as you move forward in this particular martial arts system, you're going to be tested not only on learning the technique and learning the forms and the applications of the martial arts and all of the other things you need to know personally, but you're also going to be graded on how well you teach the students that are below you what you've already learned. I was put in a position of leadership as a green belt. I had become a junior instructor, and a significant portion of my grade for advancement came from being able to work with the students that were below me in terms of their rank in the martial arts, to be able to identify their needs, their deficiencies, and to understand what they wanted to get out of their own martial arts journey. And through my input into their lives, my teaching and my training, to give them what they needed to see success. Because my success and my ability to grow and to mature in this particular martial arts style and system I was learning came not only from me growing personally, but taking what I had learned and instilling it in to the lives of others. Now, that's Leadership 101. It's something I talk about in my book, Black Belt Leadership 101. You can get that from my Amazon shop, or you can go to beablackbeltleader.com and order a copy of that book. But what I learned was that leaders are leaders because they empower other people to lead. Now, I might have just been one belt level ahead of those that were behind me, but I still had the obligation to teach and to train them so that when they tested, the quality of the performance that they put forward was better because I was pouring into their lives. Now, of course, I wanted to be noticed and appreciated. You want to be noticed and appreciated, but guess what? So does everybody else. Leaders are others focused. You know, I remember working with one of my mentors, and I invited him to a business after hours. And I watched as he worked the crowd. And he would walk up to a group of individuals, and he would ask their name, ask them what they did, and begin to ask questions about their role in their business, their family, and other interesting and intriguing questions to engage those individuals in conversation. And he did that throughout the room and seldom answered questions himself. He came back a few weeks later to speak to the group, and everyone was so engaged when they found out he was coming back to speak. Everyone wanted to show up. Why? Because they all told me, John, he was one of the best communicators I've ever met. Well, why was he considered a great communicator? The entire time he was interacting with them, he was talking about their most important subject, and that was them. And here's what I learned. You can attract other people to you when you pay attention to them and you make them the center of attention in conversation. Andrew Carnegie said, we're meeting people's needs when we arouse in another person an eager want. Zig Ziglar said it this way, you can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want. That's the secret. It's not about you. Remember this, he who can solve the most problems has no lack of significance, prestige, power, or wealth. Now let's go back to Zig's statement one more time. You can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want. So here's the challenge and the question for you. Are you willing to help enough other people get what they want so that you can get everything you want in life? Because at the end of the day, it's not about you. And when you understand that and you begin to live life that way, significance awaits. Hey, thanks for joining me for this session of the Black Belt Leadership Master Your Life podcast. I'm John Terry, the Black Belt Leader. You can connect with me at beablackbeltleader.com. You'll also find access there to all of my social media links. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Parler, Gab, USA Life, and other media outlets. I hope you'll have an opportunity to follow me there because we're daily posting leadership tips, tools, resources, and insights to help you up-level your personal growth and that of your team. Thanks for joining me, and have a great day.